I'm really pleased to be with Viv of Be Amazing. Viv is a friend of Naomi Timperley, who is our head roadie for Manchester in this fantastic venue, and we couldn't have done it without Naomi. They've been friends for a long time, haven't you?
Anyway. We haven't. We've only been friends for a short period of time.
Oh, how long? You just met? Have you just met?
No, we've been friends ever since I moved to
Have
Manchester.
you ever met her?
No. Who is she? Who is this Naomi?
Okay, yeah, go on.
No, only probably less than a year, but she's one of those people where I came to her first networking event in Manchester and Naomi was there, thankfully, and it was one of those where we sat in a round table and went, what does everybody want to get from this event? And I said, I just want to make friends, and Naomi and I have been friends ever since. So that was my first and my most succcesul networking event in Manchester, because I had an objective and I got what I wanted.
Great.
And we've been really, really good friends ever since. She's a great soulmate. She's brilliant, and she's so well connected. So I don't really need to go and network anywhere else because I just asked Naomi.
Oh, that's great. Well, I think she's absolutely amazing, really, and she's. This wouldn't be happening without Naomi, so we really are on a great day. Now, I'm going to ask you a few questions because one of our prime objectives, in fact, I know we do this, is that we give more tips to the minute to other microbiz owners than any other show that's going out all through the day. But first of all, could you just tell everybody just a little bit about the businesses you've run yourself as a business owner?
Yeah, for sure. The first business, my background is, boringly, I'm a chartered accountant. I did work in the professions for quite a long time, but then I've set up my own business. In 2004, I set up a bakery business called Exquisite Handmade Cakes.
Yum.
And I grew that to beyond a micro business, really. We employed 32 people by the time I left. Since leaving that business, I've now set up Be Amazing, which is a business that has a vision to inspire and enable people, because I recognise that fundamentally you can have all the pieces of the jigsaw in place, but if you haven't got the right people doing the right things, your business is never really going to achieve its potential. So essentially, whilst I do consultancy work in the accountancy and finance space, I'm also very big around what can I do to help you as a person to achieve what you're capable of achieving, because I think we very often get stuck in our own heads and block our own ambitions. Okay,
so the accountancy side is still going. That's still generating some income for you.
And I still love it. I still love it.
Right. Okay. Great. Okay. I must admit, accountancy isn't my strongest subject, Ed. Have you ever? I thought I did really well in the last interview, don't you, on accounts. I don't think I can do it twice in a row, so I'm not going to ask you any questions. I'm not going to ask you a question about accountancy, but I'm going to ask you about how do you go about inspiring people? Be amazing. How do you actually go about doing it?
Well, in doing it, I look back to what I used to do in my bakery business, and we weren't a business where we had lots of those ridiculous quotes on the wall that told people what your culture and your values were. I lived and breathed them. The business was called Exquisite Handmade Cakes, so everything we did at every touch point of the business had to be exquisite.
Oh, lovely.
And I didn't have to explain that to people. I didn't go around the production floor going, you have to be exquisite. And people just did it, and I think it's because they understood what we were trying to achieve. I was always very open and explained to people what we were doing, and everybody was behind that. So it wasn't that, I didn't have to dictate it, we just lived it. And it was at every single touch point, and I mean every single touch point. I used to see our dispatch guy packing up a pallet and making it absolutely perfect, but also engaging with the guys who were picking the cakes up. So they weren't our customers, but they had to have an exquisite experience when they came to the business. So it was through every stage of the business, and I think that's what I try and give to people when I do the more sort of personal coaching than the finance coaching.
Yeah, okay. And if in terms of personal coaching, which is something probably a lot of micro business owners maybe less than in corporate world where coaches are used fairly regularly. What would you say is the advantage of of working with a personal coach like yourself, if you like. If you're a microbiz owner, 0 to 9 employees, under 2 million turnover, what would you say are the benefits of it?
I think just to get an alternative perspective, because one of the things that you can really struggle with, if it's your own business, everything's inside here, and you're not even sure what you think yourself until you've articulated it. So it doesn't have to be, a very formal coaching experience. It's just get some of these things out of your head and out there, and get somebody else's interpretation of it. Not necessarily go to somebody so that they give you the answers, but just have a chat.
Exactly.
I'm hoping that the reason we're doing this is somebody will get something from this chat, and I stand up and speak about my journey through my business, and if one person does something different as a consequence of that, then that's a win for me.
Absolutely.
So I think we need to have more richer conversations to enable people to achieve the things that they're capable of achieving.
One of our passions, of course, and the reason we've got MicroBizMatters Day and at MicroBizMatters is that we strongly believe that the best help you can get, the best support, the best learning is going to be from other business owners, if you like, which you are as well. It's almost like a collaborative process together of sharing experience and actually, getting to a new level through it.
And it's not. I'm not a big fan of these big coaches who tell you the magic formula to be successful, and you've got to have 20,000 smoothies before you go out in the world and do anything. It's about people understanding what they need to do themselves to be successful. There's no prescriptive answer. It's what is the thing that will work for you,
exactly.
and how can you make the best of yourself, and it's different for everybody, but just speak to people and try and get them to help you to work it out. And I think what I like to share as well is the stuff that I've got wrong. Because
give me an example. What's the time that you thought, I'm not sure that I can bounce back from this one, because we all have them, don't we? We maybe have as many downs as we do ups, but it's the ups that keep us going. But there are the downs. So what would be an example of a mistake that you've learned from that you'll approach business differently because of something that happened to you? Give us an example.
Well, I think when I first took the business on, I bought assets out of a liquidation and spent £20,000 on some really old ovens and equipment, and I just thought, I'll have a go at this. I think I can make it work, because it had gone into liquidation before, so it failed. I'm sure with my background I can make it a success. But initially it was just a bit of fun, and I kind of thought, well, it's quite a big chunk of money, but I could afford to lose it and still carry on with my life. But then about a year in, I walked into the bakery one day and I looked at everybody working there. We were probably twice the numbers we'd been initially. Thought about
how many people did you have then?
Probably about 10 by then.
Okay.
And I thought about all the customers and all the suppliers and basically all the people along the chain that were depending on me. And I just thought, I can't walk away from this anymore. It's not a game anymore. I'm in it, and I have to stay in it. And I think that was one of the hardest moments, because I like to be in control of things, and for a small amount of time I thought, this is out of my control, because I've got to do it. Because you go into business because you think you're going to be free.
Yes, exactly.
And then you get to a point,
we cherish it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You get to a point where you think, hang on, I don't think I really am free anymore. But I just thought, there's so many ups to this that I'll just keep going. So I just sort of banished the thought and just got on with it, because you can look at things in a different way. I then looked at the people and thought, these are great people, and I'm giving them a job, and wow, isn't that a privilege? So you can cut a situation whichever way you actually want to cut it, can't you?
Do you think that business owners, on balance, it's a bit of an unfair question, but a lot of us, Ed runs a fantastic group called Freelance Heroes, if you like, 2,000 people. We're all sharing information together. And we tend to use other freelancers to grow our business far more nowadays than taking on staff. Do you think that is a sensible approach, or do you think the best way is to be like with your bakery? But I suppose producing something as concrete as not concrete.
My cakes were not concrete.
They're exquisite. We were listening. They're exquisite, not concrete.
We've only just met, and I thought you were going to be my friend.
But it is, we are friends. So, but basically, yeah. I mean, this question of taking on staff, really. So, I guess in any kind of making and creating kind of business, you often have to take on staff. But a lot of micro business owners they're worried about taking on staff. Legislation, the bureaucracy involved. My business partner, for example, absolutely hates doing payroll now. I mean, we've had so many years of it, absolutely loathes all that kind of stuff in it.
Yeah.
What would be your advice in terms of building a business as a one-person business? What's the best way of actually growing it when you literally cannot do everything yourself? You've got to. The only way you can grow is get some extra help in the business. What would be your advice?
I think it depends on the sector. I mean, I couldn't really have grown my bakery business with freelancers. Some of the aspects of it I could, but not the production side. And we tended to we would take on new staff when we needed them, when people were starting to be pushed too far, and then we'd take somebody else on. And there's hard work in relation to taking people on, but I would say it's around doing all the diligence and taking your time to recruit the right person and anticipating when you're going to need somebody, because I think a lot of the mistakes and downsides of employing people are around the process of recruitment and employment and of not getting it right. And I'm not saying I got that perfectly right every time. I made some howling mistakes.
But it's about learning the process before you start on that.
And not making a distress purchase, because your distress purchase will be wrong by definition.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then I think there are situations where you need to respect the way that other people work. So, for instance, somebody offered me a role recently and he wanted me to work 3 days a week for him. And I said, no, I can't do it, because I'll feel constrained by that, and you won't get the best out of me.
Yes.
Because I'm not a 3 day a week doing the same thing kind of person. I need to do different things. So I think it's very much, what are you recruiting for, to get the answer to what does that person need to look like, and do I need to employ them, or do I need to let them be in their own space and freelance. And I think the world's changing as well very much. There are different ways of working now, aren't there? A lot of different ways of working, so we don't all need to sit, even me doing my accountancy, and I'm delighted about the way that the profession's changing. I trained and qualified in the days when computers were the size of rooms and people did have handwritten ledgers, and now I've got everything in my laptop. And I think that's amazing. I think it's fantastic. It's a brilliant step forward for the profession, because we can actually start doing a good job of advising people and not spending all our time doing all the boring compliance stuff, because you can press a button and do that pretty much now.
Yeah, isn't that good? I was
going to ask as well, if I may, just on that employment side. Do you think that as part of that due diligence to understand whether employing someone is right, that an option should be to look to outsource? Or should we be encouraging more people to employ?
I think it's a mixture. It depends on the role and what you want from that person. But I think it's about also understanding what does that person want from that role as well. Because some people want the security of employment. So I think it's a mix of the two things, and it's a very long, thoughtful process. It's not just a case of going, right, we need a marketing manager, put an advert out, whoa, there we go, there's a marketing manager. You're never going to solve your problems like that. So it's about all the prevention stuff up front, I would say. Does that answer the question? It
does, thank you.
Yeah. One of the things I like as well about you, Viv, is the fact that you're the embodiment of the fact that we talk a lot about multiple income streams. So you're a qualified professional, but you've also, you've got some coaching, you've had a manufacturing business, a making business, various things, and I think that's very important, don't you, to actually always continually be looking for new income streams,
Definitely.
never resting on a business, because the market is changing all the time, isn't it?
Everything's changing all around us, and I think particularly when you kind of get to my esteemed age, it's not a time for going, right, I'm done now.
Yes.
I think it's a beginning, because I'm really concerned about the fact that, you know, everybody's talking about the millennials and whatever, the centennials, whatever the next one is.
Yes.
What about the people at the other end,
yes,
who are getting more distanced,
yes,
but actually they've got a lot of skills. We've got a lot to give to the world of work.
Absolutely.
So, you know, it's not time to put us in a cupboard. It's actually time to get us out and polish us up a bit and get some new skills and get us out there in the world, because there's value in the experience.
Oh, it's tremendously important. I saw a presentation by what was Ernst Young, have rebranded themselves EY. Did you know that? So EY, and they've got about 600 people in their innovation department, because they believe that traditional accountancy will be out the window within, which is, you know, the point you're making. And so we've got to evolve these skills all the time, haven't we?
Yeah, completely.
So,
but it's great. Not, you know, I really think there are a lot of skills out there that are being underutilised, because it gets more and more intimidating to get back in the workplace when, you know, particularly if you've been out of it for a while, or you know, you're just losing confidence. So that's one of the things that I'm working on in one of my social enterprises, to try and encourage more older people back into the workplace.
That's great, isn't it?
I'm all for
Do you think that suits me?
Yeah. They all have to wear hats.
We might have to bring you out as a champion.
And my last question is, MicroBizMatters Day is all about kicking off 2018 in a positive way, of us all helping each other. I gave 12 minutes in various things. What would be your one thing that you would say to all micro business owners that will help keep them going through 2018? What would a little message to all micro business owners out there, you know, what would you say?
I'd say look in here and make sure that what you're doing sits squarely in your heart, that you're following your purpose, and when you're doing something that gives you pleasure and you're proud of it. I can get up every day and think, right, I'm proud of what I've got lined up for today. And I think a lot of people waste a lot of time trying to put themselves in a space where they don't fit. So just do what you feel is the right thing to do, and the money will usually follow.
Fantastic. Thank you very much,
You're
Viv,
very
and thanks for
welcome,
supporting MicroBizMatters Day. Thank you.